station that's on your side. This is News 12 at 6 o'clock.
Good evening. It is a first alert weather day here in the river region. Tornadoes touching down caused by what was Tropical Storm Fred. This is video from Edgefield County. You can see cleanup already underway there on some downed trees and a lot of other debris.
First alert, Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale has the latest on Fred's path and what weather we can expect for the rest of the night. But let's lead things off with our Laura Warren on the ground for us in Edgefield County. And Laura, we understand you're hearing some rolls of thunder out there too.
Right, we're not in the clear yet. If you hear a clap of thunder, you might see us bail to the car here. We're keeping an eye on it, but you can see some of the damage they're dealing with out here in Edgefield County. This used to be a shed out on this property. We're about a half mile from Jerosik's Berry Farm. If you're familiar with Edgefield County, you kind of know where that is. You can see they've got some pretty sizable trees that came down. They believe the tornado might have taken a direct hit out here, but tonight, luckily for this family, they're just counting their blessings that this wasn't worse. A metal shed twisted and tossed. Family memories from inside broken and sprinkled all around the yard.
Sitting in my den, watching TV, Channel 12, at my desk. Then flash of lightning come through right there in the window.
Ellis Dorn didn't realize the storm was truly in his backyard.
He went away about maybe 2 to 5 minutes later.
His family's property next door took a direct hit.
I said, oh, God.
As soon as the clouds parted and they could survey the damage, the cleanup began. Part of that cleanup brought some levity to the situation. Their homes were spared and their lives, but it turns out their Christmas manger scene took a pretty wild ride.
Little baby Jesus got blown away. Right down there on his side.
And they decided if that's the worst of it, the good Lord was watching out for them.
It could have been worse. Could have been a whole lot worse than what I did for today. I'm glad of that.
Could have been a whole lot worse, as they said. Luckily, their home did not sustain any damage, and that's kind of been what we've been hearing from the EMA director. Not a lot of widespread swaths of damage in Edgefield County, just a couple of little pockets, and this is honestly the worst we have seen. But I can confirm that baby Jesus did make it. He's a little tossed. Joseph feeling a little disheveled, but they're going to be okay, guys.
I'm glad to hear that everybody's okay out there. Laura, I can only imagine the noise it must have been when all that hit, and I'm really glad he was watching our coverage as those storms came into Edgefield County.
Yeah, he said he didn't realize it was in the backyard at the time, but he was definitely a close watcher, and he was glad he had it turned on.
All right, Laura, and you can go bail and get in the car now and get away from that thunder and the storm. Thank you for bringing us the story, and glad to hear the baby Jesus made it.
The whole family.
That's right. All right, we're going to bring in First Alert Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale.
About 10 minutes.
We'll see you then, Riley. Thanks so much. Also in the news this evening, the decision on whether the city of Augusta will offer incentives for people to get fully vaccinated, that is now in limbo.
It is. Just in the last hour, commissioners voted on whether or not to start giving out $100 gift cards. The motion to pass it did not get enough votes. The motion not to pass it, that also did not get enough votes.
So thus the limbo, and our Kennedy Harris spoke with commissioners about their feelings on vaccine incentives and tells us now what happens next.
With vaccine rates dropping and COVID cases rising, Augusta city leaders were hoping a little money could make a difference.
Why do we want to pay people to go get a vaccination that is free? It just doesn't add up.
The Vax Up Augusta plan is to set aside $1.5 million from the American Rescue Plan to go towards vaccine incentives. Under the plan, Augusta would provide approximately 10,000 people with $100 for getting vaccinated. Some commissioners feel it's a bribe that will only lead to more problems.
I just feel like that it opens up a can of worms. And if you're going to do for one, you got to do for all.
Others say it might be the only option we have.
So if that's going to provide a motivation for them to take their shots, then that's something that we have to go to.
Today, AU Health reported 93 COVID inpatients, University reporting 104, 14 of those in ICU.
Maybe we'll be able to get enough people that's going to be able to kill the virus, and we'll be able to go about our business.
A similar vaccine initiative in DeKalb County offered a $100 gift card for anyone who got vaccinated at a city-sponsored event. In 3 events, the city paid out $170,000 in gift cards. and vaccinated more than 1,100 people.
I'm not sure $100 is enough to incentivize anyone to make that choice. Really, I'm hoping people will make that choice because they want to protect themselves and protect their families.
Kennedy Harris reporting there. Commissioners do have the option to bring the item back up for a vote again. The motion to allow public safety workers to receive a bonus also failed due to a lack of a majority vote. Going to give you a look at the latest vaccination rates across the two-state right now. In Georgia, 42% of the population is fully vaccinated. Nearly 50% have gotten at least one dose. In South Carolina, about 46% of people are fully vaccinated. 54% have gotten at least one dose.
The push we're seeing to get our community vaccinated comes as local law enforcement fights its own battle against the virus. Family and friends confirm Richmond County Dispatcher Alex Brown and Aiken Department of Public Safety Officer Kevin Simmons both recently lost their lives to COVID-19. We know North Augusta's Public Safety Department also dealing with positive cases in members of its force. Our Sloan O'Cone talked to agencies about how they're working through this new surge.
Alexandria Brown's coworkers said she's the glue that held them together and that there will never be a personality great enough to fill her headset. And she's not the only public safety worker lost to COVID this week. 43-year-old Aiken Public Safety Officer Kevin Simmons also passed. Simmons had been with Aiken Public Safety since May. North Augusta Public Safety has also had issues with COVID in their department. Several officers either dealt with COVID at home or received treatment. Officials say it's hard to pinpoint where they were infected because they're always going out on calls and coming into contact with people.
And I've asked the city of Aiken and Richmond County for how many total positive COVID cases they have, if staff members are quarantining, vaccination statuses, and the specific guidelines they're following. I haven't heard anything back on that yet. In Richmond County, Sloan O'Cone on your side.
Meanwhile, the White House expected to make a new announcement this week about booster shots. Those who receive the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine could start getting a booster shot as early as mid-September if the FDA approves the plan. Health leaders say boosters would likely be the same brand as the first two and would come 8 months after your second dose.
South Carolina School Superintendent Molly Spearman pushing for students to wear masks at school. Today, she said she disagrees with state law, the one that prevents districts from mandating them. And she says she wants something done to change it.
We have to do what's right. If we fail to follow these mitigation strategies and use every tool available to us, I fear we'll be faced with a school year that we had hoped was going to be very normal, but with a school year with avoidable interruptions, which will be detrimental to our children.
Superintendent Spearman is calling on South Carolina lawmakers to change state law to allow local school districts to make their own decisions on mask mandates. If not, she says it'll have to be up to the courts to decide.
Columbia County Schools making some COVID moves as well today, adding plexiglass dividers to cafeterias. That's a brand new safety caution measure the county says will be put in place. Face coverings are also still required on buses, but they're strongly encouraged in the school classrooms. Well, COVID continues to throw a wrench in our Georgia county's back-to-school plans.
It sure does. So far, we've seen 4 districts shut down over safety concerns. Burke, Glasscock, Tolliver, and just yesterday, Screven County joined the list, announcing its schools will be closed through Labor Day. School closures can mean some kids miss meals. For example, in Burke County, we found the district did not have a plan for meal distribution in place because their move to remote learning happened so suddenly. So we set out to find what some of our other counties have planned and what resources there are for parents in a bind.
Twice a month, families flow into Good Shepherd Baptist for their next meal. Today, no exception.
We probably serve close to about 80 to 90 families here, and I would suggest that probably out of those families, 50% had children.
It's no surprise given 93% of kids in Richmond County are economically disadvantaged according to the Department of Education.
We can't preach to hungry people, okay? So it's essential that we continue to do what we're doing.
Last year, when schools were closed, Richmond County handed out meals on school buses. In Columbia County, parents were able to pick theirs up curbside. But organizations say if those plans fall through this year, they'll be ready to step up.
We have the ability, if that does happen, to go and create lunchbox boxes and packages for children who may not be getting that meal.
And they're not alone. The Family Y says they plan to have meals for any kids not in school due to closures. Those free meals go a long way in our communities like Richmond County, where even prior to the pandemic, 93% of lunch going to kids was free or reduced.
I think the pandemic has really put a burden on families in many ways, because some families, the primary breadwinner, have been incapacitated or may have lost their lives.
And though COVID has rattled us all with the reality of unknowns,
we're just going to continue to be here to serve.
There's still people trying to create stability in a world of ups and downs. Celeste Springer, on your side.
And in case of a closure, Aiken County says students will likely pick up meals from their designated schools. Columbia County says meal pickup would be made available in some capacity, and we're still waiting to hear back from Richmond County on those food plans.
Burke County tells us it is just getting everything together, so if there is another closure, they will be ready to get meals to kids. If your student is currently out of school for that closure, you can pick up meals at the Burke County Family Y. We've got the link to sign up for you on our website.
The search is still on for a man who jumped off the I-20 bridge last night. The video right here shows the moment he jumps into the Augusta Canal after leading Richmond County and Columbia County deputies on a chase to the state line. This suspect is a white male, about 6 feet tall, mid to late 30s. If you have any information that could help track him down, you're asked to call the sheriff's office at the number right there on your screen. Investigators also still working to determine if 3 shootings over the weekend are all connected. Right now, 30-year-old Larry Mackey Jr. faces a couple of charges in 2 of the shootings. One in Georgia at the Family Dollar in Rennes, a second in South Carolina at a home in Graniteville. That's where he's accused of shooting and killing this 14-year-old Nathaniel Johnson. Family telling us McKee is the step-uncle of that teenager. Police are still looking into a 3rd shooting on Saturday where a woman was shot just driving down Deansbridge Road. We have reached out for more information on the suspect in that shooting. For now, all the investigators can tell us is that the case is still under investigation.
More local heroes to shine a light on tonight. We first told you yesterday about Richmond County Deputy Marshal Andrew Justice. He was off duty earlier this month when he saved a woman's life with CPR. It happened at the Kroger on Lewiston Road in Grovetown. Well, now you're looking at 5 others who are also getting recognized for helping save her life. This is Engine 7 and Battalion 801 of Columbia County Fire Rescue. They also responded to that scene. We would like to thank all of them for their service. Boy, we're glad they're around.
Heroes among us right there.
Absolutely. Still ahead on News 12 at 6 o'clock. A new space for women and children who need a helping hand. How one nonprofit is expanding its reach to give even more people a new start. Riley?
And we are still tracking some strong